Congressman, really quickly, why can't you condemn anti-Semitism?
What are you talking about? I've done that a million times.
Doocy is the unflappable White House journalist known for asking the difficult questions, isn't he? What if, instead than Peter himself, the remarkable lady at his side is the true surprise? Relax, because there's more to the tale than meets the eye when you meet Hillary Vaughn, Peter Doocy's wife. Discover the captivating story of the lady who won over the heart of the most famous reporter on Fox News as we delve into her life, career, and hidden moments today. Also, you should know that she's not what she seems to be. She entered Fox's junior reporter program and was in the limelight the whole time. The field of broadcast journalism was not a happy accident for Hillary Vaughn. She was an adolescent in a Christian boarding school in Washington, D.C., where she was born in 1989 and where discipline met curiosity. She honed her skills in standing firm and asking pointed questions behind those red brick walls. After finishing high school, she had already decided that she wanted to be a storyteller. Following the completion of her degree in broadcast journalism in 2020, Vaughn began her work in digital platforms. Through her work at Yahoo Finance and the New York Post, she was able to break into the news industry and contribute to Yahoo News and MSN. She polished her voice with each piece. Every news story made her instincts sharper. The byline caught the eye of reporters in major markets. She was spotted by the on-camera producers. She brought the facts to life, not just reported them. Participation in Fox News' Junior Reporter program, which was established in 2012, was extended to her. This initiative finds up-and-coming journalists and places them in real-life newsrooms. Every task that Vaughn took on, she dove headfirst. In New Hampshire, she pursued political gatherings. From a crowded press gallery, she saw the Senate's voting process. At the last possible second, she entered live hits. In her first year on the job, she covered a state primary, a Midwest natural catastrophe, and a prominent Senate hearing. With the cameras running and my self-assurance unshaken, let's reminisce about that first moment on broadcast. Without a script, she gave a concise 20-second update on economic predictions under the dome of the State House. She spoke to the audience by leaning in close. She spoke with a friendly yet stern tone. Her gaze begged for confidence. Everyone on the editorial team observed. She was entrusted with more substantial stories by senior producers. Her previous position as a junior reporter has been replaced by field reporter by 2016. No longer was she a trainee, now she was the one dictating speed. From Capitol Hill to the White House, she covered the nation's capital for breaking news. The problem is, however, she accomplished all of this before to ever meeting Peter Doocy. Her professional trajectory was dynamic, driven, and unfettered. According to her advisors, she was able to blend academic rigor with streetwise determination. After arguing fiscal policy with economists, she may go after a witness during a demonstration. In 2019, she was honored with the Breaking News Award from the National Press Club for her flexibility. It was a turning point in my life. Such acclaim is a journalist's ideal. Instead of dreaming, she fulfilled. Imagine her out in the field, notebook and microphone in hand, wind in her hair, and a towering building in the background. She remains steadfast as she reports on tax day demonstrations, breaks down the latest trade talks, and explains complicated economic jargon to viewers. She makes complex concepts easy to understand. She articulated quantitative easing rather well. Because of her, the concept of market volatility became a pressing one. Every word she chose had an impact. Despite the meteoric rise of her profession, she chose to keep her private life under wraps. She cared more about breaking news than taking photos or using trendy hashtags. However, her professionalism was acknowledged. In early 2020, she received an invitation to become a Washington reporter for Fox Business Network. From the same halls where she formerly walked as a trainee, she now reports on economic policy. She takes the audience into secret meetings. She makes the complex process of Federal Reserve decisions easy to understand. Without missing a beat, she brings attention to the individuals responsible for formulating budgetary policy. That is the path to become an anchor before you even have a desk job. She worked for her shine. No one gave it to her. A process that is gradual, one tale at a time. Even before news broke that she was engaged to Peter Doocy, she had established herself as one of the leading political journalists in the world. But what really transpires when two up-and-coming stars clash in the shadows? Peter Doocy and Hillary Vaughn's Genesis story is the subject of this inquiry, which is not rhetorical. In this story, ambition and privacy coexist in the shadows rather than under the bright lights of a studio. Their paths first intersected in 2017, two driven journalists in the same Washington, D.C., pursuing separate stories. News Archive. Fox Business's reporter with a gift for understanding financial terms was she. He was well known as the White House journalist who asked questions at a quick pace. They allegedly ran into one other during a briefing on federal budget discussions that took place late at night. Both of them nodded courteously in agreement. Then grins. Following that, some commentary. In plain sight, their affection blossomed, but no one paid any attention. Their meals were understated, converted from texting to coffee runs. The job deadlines they had were ideal for providing cover. When he was around, she recalled, the long days on Capitol Hill seemed shorter. Her ability to simplify difficult policies was something he admired, he added. However, information were never officially verified by them. They had become even closer by 2020. The engagement was reported that year by Yahoo Entertainment. In a low-key Instagram post, no red carpet, no network announcement, they whispered the news. She said yes. The message was direct, compelling, and sent social media murmurs into overdrive. They accomplished this while covering the Trump administration's most tumultuous stories, COVID briefings at night, and tax cut discussions throughout the day. They held off on writing their love tale until they were ready. According to those on the inside, they made the conscious decision to keep everything under wraps. They had to give their whole attention to the next big story. They both preferred that their private lives not be shown in Chiron bars. Their inner circle was holy to them. Thus, their relationship remained a closely guarded secret in Washington. What would it be like to go on a date under those lights? Imagine penetrating between takes of writing an economic spotlight article to put a ring upon her finger. The trajectory of their relationship was plainly seen. No leaks or speculations would be spread, according to sources at People.com, since the couple's close pals vowed to remain silent. They had previously been through political storms and experienced private triumphs and tragedies before cameras caught their first public PDA. By the time news broke, they were already close. Their announcement seemed more like a result of years of hard work and dedication than a publicity gimmick because of it. Now we can discuss the big reveal. They have decided to tie the knot on April 26, 2021. Guests were invited to the South Carolina ceremony site, Montage Palmetto Bluff. Not even 18 people. Use a Doocy joke as your hashtag. A private moment in the middle of a pandemic? No expensive production, no television cameras, just two reporters taking on a new role as a couple, and some close friends and relatives. Their Genesis narrative was determined by their secret keeper attitude. It proved that nobody is immune to protecting private moments, not even famous people. Without holding any press conferences or going on any kind of promotional tour, they instead formed a relationship based on the rigors of Capitol reporting. Their dynamic is that of the hidden in plain sight, The event took place on April 26, 2021, with just 18 invited guests, absolutely little pomp and circumstance, and an unforgettable Doocy joke. Prior to the outbreak, the couple had intended to tie the knot in January. No classes today. Online media briefings were implemented. The meeting of the public was outlawed. Since promises are meaningless in the absence of security, they were forced to delay. Similar to how Peter's sister Sally's wedding was also delayed, this one was too. A family who was used to watching live broadcasts was surprised to hear nothing while they waited. At last, they reached Montage Palmetto Bluff on a cool spring morning. A canopy covered with moss encircled the aisle. The road was flanked by live oaks. No red carpets, no network cameras, just two people, their immediate families, and 18 witnesses to a once-in-a-lifetime event. At the altar, he stood in a blue suit, while she walked in a lace-white gown. A lifetime of meeting press deadlines and being the center of attention vanished as their gazes locked. For the press secretaries, he had prepared a battery of questions. She had worked for the Federal Reserve, where she had done economic analysis. Their vows were spoken with the clarity that comes from years of practicing under the brightest lights, even though neither of them had practiced for this moment. Fox and Friends co-host and Peter Doocy's father, Steve, was the best man. He read aloud a poem composed in real time, with words that combined a sense of fatherly pride with the ability of a journalist to craft the ideal lead-in. He made a joke about Hillary joining their newsroom of life and smiled when his son proposed with an engagement ring. The truth is, they opted for closeness rather than showmanship. Authenticity was paramount in their eyes. Instead of the din of helicopter cameras, they want to recall the gentle rustle of living oak leaves in the wind. Instead of the wedding of the century making headlines, all they wanted was to celebrate the day they wed their closest friend. Their guests said that it was the most heartfelt ceremony they had ever seen. Hillary's smile was radiant, and Peter's voice was unwavering even as he fought back tears. Even though they weren't directly involved in making history, one cousin said that they felt like they were sitting on the edge of history at that time. Think of the celebration as follows: a solitary string quartet under a wooden pavilion, linen-covered tables, candlelight twirling on glass. As they raised their glasses to the sparkling cider, the audience burst out laughing at Steve's story of the bird that dive-bombed Peter during a live performance. Laughter has no bounds, even in serious vows. What if, at your own wedding, someone made a joke about a bird crashing into the venue? Despite appearances, in the Doocy Vaughn world, the unexpected is always the rule. They had raced articles on Capitol Hill and covered press secretaries and tariffs, but they took a break to enjoy the normality they had earned. The fact that it was delayed, intimate, and heartfelt, a tribute to perseverance, is what sets this wedding apart. While reporters excel when faced with urgent situations, they must be prepared to wait patiently and safely for the most extraordinary tales that life has to offer. Their commitment to one another and to the principles of truthfulness, security, and love was symbolized by this ceremony. They accomplished all of this without issuing a single press release. Instead, they departed from South Carolina as a married couple prepared to start a family, bringing with them memories rather than film footage. I can't help but wonder, after leaving the aisle, what did Hillary achieve? How does one go from being a field reporter to being a highly acclaimed newscaster? How did Hillary Vaughn find a way to make the most of every situation? Make sure you tune in. After enrolling in Fox's junior reporter program, she was hooked. From New Hampshire state primary to winter storms in 2012, she covered it all. She was chasing deadlines in wind chills below 0 degrees. Even though there was no safety net and cameras were rolling, she managed to survive. Hollywood took note of her determination. Audiences praised her lucidity. Her previous position as a junior reporter has been replaced by field reporter by 2016. In Washington, D.C., she covered stories involving press secretaries, budget fights, and trade discussions, all of which were considered high stakes. Was she not right in the middle of it? Her style was noticeable. She used straightforward language to explain complex policies. She was quicker than most planned pieces when it came to doing analysis live on camera. She skillfully combined academic background with practical speech. The spectator would have little trouble following Federal Reserve jargon compared to video of local protests. With a concise finish that resembled a casual conversation, she concluded each report. Following a live broadcast of Tax Day demonstrations, she once told her audience, "That is what you need to know," and they took her word for it. But hear me out. Reporting from the field is like working under a pressure cooker. A career may be destroyed by only one false item. Even in the face of criticism, she remained precise. She verified each sentence twice and sought for reliable sources. Her voice never faltered, her questions never missed their mark, and her reporting was unfaltering even throughout the most tumultuous parts of the daily briefings given by the Trump administration. And then, 2019 rolled around. Noticing this, the National Press Club spoke out. She took home the prize for breaking news. The commendation lauded her for acting swiftly in the face of an unexpected security incident at the Capitol. With her microphone in hand, she was there to translate the ever-changing dangers into understandable warnings for the general population. During the behind-the-scenes frantic activity of top parliamentarians, she provided real-time information. The judges praised her poise, saying it was so admirable that it changed the game for live news. Not only did she come out on top, but she also changed the game for field reporting. The whole image is not conveyed by vivid verbs such as snapped or pursued. Imagine her with her umbrella turned inside out, notes drenched, voice unwavering, and the harsh glare of the camera staring at her as she stands outside the gates of the White House in the rain. In only 30 seconds, her report became the day's most replayed piece. A masterpiece in crisis journalism, according to the editors, her ascent to the Washington bureau of Fox Business Network was catapulted by the honor. For the benefit of millions of viewers, she used her first-hand knowledge of economic policy. Quantitative easing, yield curves, and market volatility were some of the technical phrases she took on and gave them an air of urgency. She maintained the same street-level grit that once distinguished her while holding powerful Washington insiders responsible on television. Her rise from New Hampshire trainee to award-winning journalist is an impressive story that goes beyond a mere bullet point on a CV. It exemplifies perseverance, accuracy, and the dogged quest for truth. She excels not in showmanship, but in content when the pressure is on, proving that she is at her best when the stakes are high. What, however, transpires when the limelight intensifies, when your name appears on the marquee, and your personal life is abruptly thrust into the public domain? Consider the possibilities if you were to bring that energy into your own life. Picture this. You're covering tax hearings and then you have a baby only 5 minutes after that. That is the truth for Hillary Vaughn. It is not a joke. She was filming a live broadcast from Capitol Hill on February the 1st, 2023, when she had her first contraction. After a 30-hour labor, she hurriedly finished her report, crossed the street, and welcomed Bridget Blake Doocy into the world. Dual identity is at the heart of this, not only work-life balance. Vaughn is a new mother who is adjusting to the routine of nursing her baby at midnight and getting news alerts first thing in the morning. During the day, she is the Fox Business journalist who questions senators and CEOs. Peter Doocy, her husband, is also no stranger to the limelight. He is the one who gets the soundbite that everyone will use after trading questions with presidents. No wiggle space between two very demanding occupations in the same home. The catch is that Vaughn and Doocy maintain a wall of separation between their personal and professional lives. While on the clock, they are co-workers, competitors, and all in pursuit of the next big story. At home, they play the roles of parents, spouses, and, on times, harshest critics to one another. Neither the baby monitor nor the journalistic chit-chat ever gets in the way of a live shoot during supper. What we're seeing here is discipline, not luck. Many wonder what their secret is. When your job is to broadcast the private lives of others, how can you ensure that your own marriage remains out of the tabloids? As Vaughn sees it, privacy is not a byproduct of chance, but rather an intentional decision. Not every milestone is shared by her. No one is ever invited to her living room. She allows her job to do the talking. Everything else remains undisclosed. However, every limit is eventually challenged. A first pregnancy unfolded before Vaughn's eyes as she traveled the campaign road, riding shotgun in press vans and standing on the Capitol steps. She had a second? The same old thing? Neither a baby on the way, nor breaking news wait for anybody. She finishes her last report, puts her emergency supplies in her go bag, and races to the hospital. The audience is only privy to the calm, polished lady who pulls it off effortlessly, oblivious to the chaos going on behind the scenes. We call this the dual identity problem. Vaughn is more than simply a mother or a reporter. She is a rock in times of need. Without a hitch, she can go from an intense press conference to reading a bedtime tale. She is adamant that her loved ones not be used as ratings bait. The lesson that ambition and compassion are not mutually exclusive is one that she imparts to her daughter. Peter Doocy understands. His life is a life of adventure. Their paths have always been separate, but they have crossed paths on occasion. Vaughn did not ride on anybody else's coattails. She earned her bylines and her promotions. That is respected by Doocy. His passion is for it. They are an example of a strong, independent relationship based on mutual respect. Fans are demanding more from the Doocy-Vaughn home, including baby images, behind-the-scenes footage, and more, all on social media. Never giving them the complete picture, Vaughn keeps them intrigued with just a glance. Mystery is something she appreciates. She is aware that there are certain tales that are best kept hidden. But the true story is this. Vaughn is changing the definition of privacy and the spotlight. She is doing more than that. She shows that it is possible to follow a story's lead while yet creating your own. With enough effort, you can live it up and be there for all the major events, whether they unfold on television or in your living room. What, then, occurs when the baby monitor is on and the cameras are deactivated? As a public figure pair, how does this power couple handle becoming parents? A sweet snapshot of little fingers around Peter's thumb was all that was needed to announce Bridget Blake Doocy's birth on People.com. According to friends and relatives, the couple was overjoyed, and both parents couldn't contain their pleasure. In 3 sincere words, Peter captured it all. She is perfect. One of the most replayed moments on the internet was this revelation. The audience froze at Peter's subdued wonder, rewound to see Hillary's beaming grin, and lingered on Bridget's first yawn. However, it was not an impromptu act. Instead of trying to create a sensation, they planned a subdued revelation, prioritizing their loved ones and avoiding the spotlight. Hillary portrayed parenting as a life-altering experience in an interview. She went on to say that the moment she held her kid, the world shifted. Policy stories took on a more personal tone, and tax arguments mirrored family budgets. Reporters from People.com noticed that her pieces started to include the perspectives of working parents she saw on Capitol steps, moving away from impersonal legislative analysis and toured tales focused on real people. Viewers leaned in when she stated, "These are the lives behind the legislation," during a land use argument. On a snowy winter morning 5 months later, she stood on the National Mall, swaddling Bridget in one arm and holding a microphone in the other. As her kids slept on her breast, she explained complex housing policies in simple, understandable words. She expertly navigated viewers through intricate zoning rules and bedtime rituals, all in one breath, capturing the dual nature of contemporary motherhood. Labor started following a normal OB checkup after a tax day segment in April 2025, and they had their second kid that same year. Once again, they opted to keep the initial few hours under wraps, revealing only the most important details when the time was appropriate. She adjusted her journalistic routine after becoming a mother, no longer chasing every breaking story. In her fight for on-site daycare, she was joined by other working mothers. She said that newsrooms could help more families if they offered care. When parents feel pressured to make a decision, she said, journalism runs the danger of losing talented children. But her performance remained consistent. She displayed the same level of accuracy and determination, whether dissecting interest rate rises or relentlessly questioning Fed officials. Despite all that happened, her responsibilities as a mother and journalist actually strengthened one another. Trying to modify live scripts while pacing a nursery must be a nightmare. Imagine her interpreting minutes from the Federal Reserve as Bridget sits on her hip. That's resilience in action, the real-time convergence of her life and job. Passion may be fueled by seclusion, as they show in this chapter. They maintain the genuineness that makes their personal and professional lives remarkable by keeping their children out of the spotlight and family traditions off the radio. Show me the hidden side. Vaughn doesn't hide out in the swanky world of celebrities when the red light goes out. Instead, she plunges headfirst into the neighborhood, someone who remembers your birthday even when you don't remember your own, the first to provide advice to a beginner, and the last to go from a mentoring session are all things that her coworkers have said about her. A trailblazer in their industry and a creator of hope for generations to come. That is the consensus among the Fox business staff and among the young journalists she has mentored. What makes Vaughn special, however, is that she is more than a facade. She is the genuine article. She has a subtle influence on the next generation of female journalists via her involvement in mentoring programs. There are no look-at-me moments or press releases. Instead, there are late-night phone conversations, seminars on weekends, and the kind of constructive criticism that makes you better than when you were before. Her co-workers say she has a special aptitude for discovering untapped potential and developing it into something special for the newsroom. People sometimes refer to her as the Velvet Hammer because of how kind she is, but her words carry weight. Does charity work? While Vaughn manages to keep everything under wraps, her fingerprints are evident in every place. She has been seen helping at food banks around the holidays, helps coordinate coat donations for families in need, and promotes literacy initiatives in D.C. She was serving Thanksgiving turkeys while carrying her kid on her bosom, according to one producer. There were no cameras, hashtags, or anything else, just service. Vaughn isn't satisfied to only climb the ladder. She's also resolved to keep it solid for others who came after her. This brings us to our next point: advocacy. She has championed working parents' rights to more flexible scheduling, on-site daycare in the media, and stronger parental leave regulations via her network. Making a difference is more important than generating headlines. She reportedly informed a group of interns that the journalism industry loses a lot of talented individuals due to fatigue and poor policies. We must safeguard those who speak the truth if we want to know the truth. That is more than simply a catchphrase. It is a calling. When you ask her coworkers about her most memorable moments, they will tell you stories like the time she stayed late to assist a producer in rewriting a screenplay, or the day she brought coffee to a worried camera crew just before a snowstorm. But you won't hear about her greatest scoop. The unusual thing about Vaughn as an anchor is that he remembers the names of all the editors, expresses gratitude to the interns, and always keeps the story's human aspect in mind. She is the calm remedy for an egotistical industry. The catch is that Vaughn's life away from the camera is really an extension of her on-air character rather than a getaway from it. Her compassion, determination, and intransigence are not just strengths in the workplace. They are her core principles. She is teaching her daughter that compassion is more important than ambition, and that service is a source of strength. The legacy she is creating will last long after the news cycle ends. So where do Peter Doocy and Hilary Vaughn go from here? So what happens when two A-list journalists decide to shine a light on others and use their position to empower them? They've made a living reporting the news, and now they're at a crossroads. According to leaked remarks, Hilary is looking at AI-powered reporting systems that may analyze the rhythm of her on-air performances to forecast market movements. She has shown her fascination in the potential of machine learning to enhance field reporting. Using real-time sentiment analysis, picture her live hits even better. But here's the rub. This power couple could be doing more than just TV. Managing the White House beat, Federal Reserve disclosures, and family milestones, an insider's memoir, is reportedly something she's thinking about publishing. Interweaving personal stories with policy analyses, she informed her mentors she aspires to be a journalist who gives a voice to working parents. Possible publishing industry upheaval might result from such memoir/manifesto hybrid. How about Peter? He became famous all around the world because, to his doggedness on camera. He has reportedly proposed a podcast with Hilary, two reporters dissecting the most significant political events of the week before shifting gears to discuss the ups and downs of parenthood. Before taking a peek inside Capitol Hill politics, listeners might hear snippets of everyday life, including arguments over bath time, changes to bedtime stories, and sibling rivalry. The primetime options may be discussed. According to those in the know, Fox executives have contacted Hilary about hosting a primetime business show. The show would be an hour long and would include interviews with young journalists she nurtures, as well as an inside look at the Federal Reserve's war room. Her reputation as a commercial guru and her pioneering charitable efforts would be perfectly complements that framework. Imagine for a second a live piece that goes from inflation predictions to a discussion about childcare in the workplace. This couple exemplifies that kind of dualism. With unfaltering honesty, they convey intricate policies to viewers and motherhood to coworkers. Growing their family is the next big thing for them, so that Bridget and her brother may take advantage of the cultural and educational opportunities of the East Coast. Insiders claim that in 2026, they will return to New York City, near Peter's White House bureau. This change of setting has the potential to give rise to new narratives about family relations, educational justice, and urban policy. Their path does not follow the typical pattern for power couples, and that much is evident. While they update it with artificial intelligence experiments, book tours, primetime pitches, podcasts, and new family chapters, they remain true to their roots, thorough reporting based on real-life experiences. From her ascent through Fox's reporter program to their private weddings, award-winning field reporting, mentoring missions, and juggling two identities, we have revealed a few secrets. Doubt it if you believe you are familiar with her backstory. What do you think? Will she publish a book? Share your thoughts below. Debut a program in prime time? Launch a revolution in journalism, powered by artificial intelligence? This is just the first step.